series. Today we'll be sorting out our Ravelry queue and adding tags and yarn. If you're like me, you have a reasonable sized Ravelry queue. Mine's approaching 400, I'm ashamed to say, and I'm also ashamed to say that I didn't start tagging very early. So I need to sort my Ravelry queue. I'm assuming if you've clicked on play, you'd like to sort yours as well. So let's do it together over the next 2 weeks. Let's sort our Ravelry queue and our project pages, and then we'll move on to making Ravelry work for us and get into some of the more intricate and involved aspects of this wonderful website. So let's go to my queue. Here it is. If you don't know how to queue something on Ravelry, then we can cover that in a Ravelry Basic 101 post. Now, I started queuing back in 2009. This little crochet kitty is the first item that I queued, and you can see if I scroll down here that it is heavily crochet, and that was what I was basically doing in those days. Now, if you follow me on Facebook, you'll notice that I queued something new today. Jetstream by Heidi Kiermaier. Now this is a beautiful project. Let's have a quick look at it. Took my eye when I saw it on the Ravelry page, and I put a shout out on Facebook. I said, should I be doing Shibui Staccato or Shibui Sock? I think Shibui Staccato would be beautiful in this. So let's go back to my queue. We're going to tag this, and I'm also going to add a yarn. So if you click on the little edit function here, I'm going to add Shibui Staccato. I call this the infinity symbol. Click on the yarn that I'm going to use, or you could use stash yarn, but we'll cover that later. Now I'm going to tag this as shawl. I'm going to tag it as Suzy, because then you can tag it as, oops, where did that go? You can tag it as anything you like. You can tag it as Easter, Christmas, just some basic search functions. So when you're searching through your queue, you can find it easily. So if I click on save, you can see now that Jetstream calls for this yarn. I'm going to use Shibui Knit Staccato, and I've tagged it as shawl, Shibui, and Suzy. Up here on these stars and stripe mittens, I've tagged it as gloves and Sophie. I haven't tagged it as mittens because I probably won't search for that. Now let's go back to an earlier page. Scroll down, sorry for the speed of that. I queued this last week. This beautiful jumper knit up in Millimere. Oops, and there I am. I'm going to tag, this calls for Millimere, and I'm going to knit it in Millimere, and I'm going to take it as Suzy jumper. So let's tag one more here. This is another one I tagged last week. Morel by Melanie Berg. Beautiful. Just a beautiful graphic yarn. I think that I had that in my newsletter last week too. Just really caught my eye. I don't know what yarn I'm going to use again, but it will be for me. You can keep adding tags as you go through. So now we can see that this one's tagged a few things, the other one's tagged a few things. Now once you've tagged it, what does that mean? Let's go back to our queue, start at the beginning. You see this function up here, search tags. Let's type in shawl. And there they are. Morel by Melanie Berg and Jetstream by Heidi Kiermaier are the two shawls that I've tagged. So if I know that I'm going to use consistent tags throughout my queue, and I'm in the mood for knitting up a shawl, or I'm in the mood for, say, using Shibui Staccato, Oh, I didn't do it as Shibui, did I? I did it as just Shibui. Sorry. You just got to watch that autofill function. So tagged for Shibui, I have mix number 9 and I have Jetstream. If we want to use our queue to its best functionality, tags are definitely the way to go. Otherwise, when it grows to an enormous size, and I hear that mine is by no means enormous, it's working on being enormous, that you'll be able to search through quickly to find what you need. Now let's set ourselves some homework, because next week we're going to come back and we're going to look at our queue, we're going to look at our project page, we're going to make sure that everything's up to date and in order. So let's start tagging, and I'll undertake to have everything tagged by next Monday, which will be the 8th of July 2013. A bit of Suzy homework. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.